Denver, what the heck are you doing? Listen, I'm going to keep Sean Payton in the intro because I said that if he beat the Chiefs, he'd be in the intro if he finished with a winning record. But still, I don't want to. Feel like I shouldn't, but I will. The Denver Broncos have hired former Saints head coach Sean Payton, baby. Blair Holding. Ah! What the hell is pimento cheese? Tom Brady has announced his retirement from the NFL. For real this time. Come on, kick the field goal, take the points. Win the game.
No, you have to say that.
See you later. Welcome to a head-scratching episode of Ruffing the Passer, the show that talks football, miscellaneous stuff, and mostly football. I am your host, Sam Ruffing. This is episode 90. And normally I'd be talking about, giving you all the topics that I'll be talking about for today, but this one is going to be plain and simple. We are talking about the Broncos benching quarterback Russell Wilson. Why? Why are you doing this? I'm just going to ask that right away. According to Adam Schefter, the Denver Broncos, Sean Payton, announced the team today that the Broncos will be benching Russell Wilson for the remainder of the season. After losing to the New England Patriots on Sunday night, Christmas Eve, 26-23, in what was a heartbreaking loss, and the Broncos pretty much being out of the playoffs. Supposedly, this is to see if Jarrett Stidham, the backup, is any good. And also so Russell Wilson doesn't get injured, so they don't have to pay him next year. Basically, they're getting rid of Russell Wilson. And I just have to ask, why? What purpose is this? It makes no sense in my mind. Just none. Sure, Russell Wilson has been up and down. His downs are too many sacks, doesn't read the defense entirely well, misses wide open receivers. But this season, he's been really good. 26 touchdowns, only 8 interceptions, pass rating of 98 or 99, 4 game-winning drives, most in the NFL, has been statistically the best quarterback in the AFC West this year. Better than Patrick Mahomes. But he's the fall guy for Sean Payton's follies, apparently. I don't get it. I'm sorry. It just doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. Why are we giving up on Russell Wilson now? He's had the best year of his career. Well, not the best year of his career. He's had a bounce-back season from last year. The team overall has looked better. They haven't made the playoffs, sure. They're not going to win the division, most likely. But who honestly expected that to happen from this team? I sure didn't. I was like, I just want a team that will win 9 to 10 games, be playoff viable, and show improvement from Russell Wilson and Sean Payton so that next year it can have some hope. And guess what? They're on track to win maybe 9 games, potentially. I don't know. Maybe they'll win 8 games or only 7 games since they've benched Russell Wilson. But Russell Wilson looked improved. The offense looked improved. The defense has looked improved from the sluggish start. They were playoff viable, even division viable for a little bit there. They didn't capitalize on it, but it was there. I got everything I wanted, yet for some reason we're benching Russell Wilson because, I don't know. I'm sorry, but was it Russell Wilson's fault? And I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of flack for this video. You know what? Whatever. I expect it. It's my opinion. You can have your own opinion. That's fine. But was it Russell Wilson's fault this season that Sean Payton decided to call an onside kick to open the game against the Raiders, which led to a touchdown and the Broncos lost by, 1 point. So the Raiders only get a field goal out of that drive. Was it Russell Wilson's fault that Sean Payton called a pass play on Washington's own 1-yard line when they could have run it in to try and even the score? It wouldn't have evened the score, but it made it a lot easier than going for a Hail Mary later in the game. Was it Russell Wilson's fault that Sean Payton called a stupid jet sweep against the Jets, which was fumbled by Marvin Mims? No, I don't think it was. Was it Russell Wilson's fault that against the Patriots, Sean Payton called 3 terrible goal line plays and didn't send out the field goal unit to take the points, which, guess what? The Broncos lost by 3. If they send out the field goal unit, then it goes to overtime. Interesting. Was it Russell Wilson's fault that in that same New England game, Sean Payton used 2 timeouts when Belichick was clearly trying to go to overtime? I don't think so. He was handing them the game, and he's like, no, I got to win. You know, last AFC West head coach who was overthought everything and called timeouts when they weren't necessary, could have played for overtime or a tie? That was Brandon Staley. How did that work out? Was it Russ's fault Sean Payton called a horrific screen pass on that final drive against New England? I don't think so. Oh, who was the other Broncos head coach who called a horrific screen pass when they had a chance to win on a field goal drive? What was his name? Nathaniel Hackett against Seattle. It's ridiculous. The Broncos' problem was not Russell Wilson this year. He played really well. He beat 5 straight teams. He went 5-0 in a stretch against the Green Bay Packers, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Buffalo Bills, the Minnesota Vikings, who were hot at the time, and the Cleveland Browns. Name me one other quarterback in the NFL who would have won that stretch of games at that time. The Chiefs were hot. The Packers were about to get hot. The Bills were, had home field advantage and have been historically dominant. The Minnesota Vikings were hot, and the Browns had just beaten the Ravens in dramatic fashion. Name me a quarterback in the NFL who would have done the same, who would have gone 5-0 against those teams. Would it have been... I don't think Patrick Mahomes would have done that. He's lost to the Bills this year. Jalen Hurts wouldn't have done that. I don't think Lamar Jackson even would have done that. Tua certainly wouldn't have done that. He lost to the Chiefs. Early in the season, the Broncos' problems with defense, not Russell Wilson. Problem in this losing streak is not Russell Wilson, except for that game against the Texans. It was defense against the Lions and Sean Payton's horrific play calling against New England. But instead of owning up to it and just falling on the sword himself, Sean Payton is throwing Russell Wilson under the bus. For what? Russ has been the best quarterback in the AFC West statistically. 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio. Mahomes right now is what? Barely 2-to-1? Not yet 2-to-1? But he's winning the division because he has a head coach who can make slightly better game managing decisions, and he gets a lot of help from the refs. I don't know what Sean Payton was expecting. This was a team that was a disaster last season and needed to be rebuilt. You need to fix Russ, which you did. It was rebuilding, which you're doing. Next season, you can get some more players, develop some young rookies. Maybe get a Tyler Lockett. Run it back with Sean Payton in your system. With Russell Wilson in your system once again, and see where it goes. Just one more year. If it doesn't work out, great, you can cut him. But if you cut him now, you're still going to eat a lot of dead cap money. If you sign him, if you play him one more year, still get a lot of dead cap. It really doesn't matter. And what quarterback out there is going to be better than Russell Wilson is for this team right now that the Broncos can realistically get? Obviously, maybe Mahomes and other players would be better right now. Obviously. But, is Mac Jones and Bo Nix going to be winning these 5 games against some really tough opponents? I don't think so. Even if you get a Michael Penix Jr., is he going to perform as well as Russell Wilson did? No. Especially not the dead cap hit you're eating. And Jarrett Stidham is not going to perform better than Russell Wilson. I have heard the Jarrett Stidham hype for so long, it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't get it. He's not the second coming of Tom Brady, guys. Jeez him. And if he is, great. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Sean Payton knows what he's doing. He has, been a really good coach here and there in New Orleans. So maybe he's making the right move. Maybe he brings in Taysom Hill to be his quarterback, and somehow that works. Maybe he falls, maybe Caleb Williams by some miracle falls all the way down. Who knows? Maybe Bo Nix is actually secretly great. But the Broncos finally had a franchise quarterback guy in their building who they already paid. who was leading them to big victories, ending the Kansas City Chiefs win streak. And what do? They finally get it, and they throw it all away. Just, no. Who needs them? Who needs them? I really don't like this move. And I strongly suggest the Broncos reconsider. I don't think they will, but obviously. Whatever. Just utterly ridiculous. Sean Payton blaming Russell Wilson for his own follies. Like, sure, Russ had some bad games this year, but, like, come on. Like, just one more year of patience. You know what I don't want to happen? I don't want to have another Drew Lock situation where factors outside of Drew Lock's control or Russell Wilson's control, some BS losses, some refs, some not being able to play or practice with a new offensive system, having terrible OCs, whatever, affects the development and potential of a potentially good quarterback. And biases. I don't want pre-made biases ruining what could be potentially a good quarterback, a franchise guy in Denver like we did with Drew Lock, with Vic Fangio being biased against Drew Lock from day one. And Sean Payton being biased against Russell Wilson from day one. Like the Lions game, he's yelling at Russell Wilson on the sidelines for the fact that his running backs couldn't score or that the refs made a BS offsides call. Like, come on. Also, Sean, was it Russell Wilson who called out the Jets and made that game what would have been potentially an easy win for Denver and upset because the Jets were making it their Super Bowl? No, that was you who called out Nathaniel Hackett. This is utterly ridiculous. It's Sean Payton making a problem that when it wasn't there, and I really don't like this at all. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you like this video, hit the like button, share it with your friends and family. This has been episode 90 of Roughing the Passer. Thank you very much for watching. I'm sure this video will be kind of controversial. Kind of is an understatement. But whatever. I just don't like this move. At all. Anyways, see you later. Have a good day. Have a happy new year. Have a Merry Christmas. Technically, it's still going. Bye.